Optox. The most motivating thing I've ever heard in my whole entire life wasn't David Goggins saying stay hard. It was the simple fact that the average human lifespan is 4,000 weeks. When I learned that, I was shocked. And it made me think about all the weeks that I spent just doing nothing. Nothing that I even remember. There's so many weeks that I don't even remember. And I'm coming off of a sickness. I just was sick. Nothing makes me feel depressed like that, or sad. I'm not depressed, but you spend a week just sitting in your bed and doing nothing, and it really just makes you feel so grateful for the life that you've been given. And I don't know, I guess lately I've just kind of felt like let me put this together. Maybe things aren't working in the right time frame. And I'm in this weird spot. I'm moving in a couple months that I said this to my mom. I'm nostalgic for right now. A lot of people sit there and they wait until they're, 40 or whatever. And they're like, oh, the good old days were back then. The good old days were, when I had hair, when I could still walk, when that friend was still alive. And I think the good old days are nothing more than the present moment being taken for granted. When you're going down to the beach or hanging out with your friends, you don't know if that's going to be your last time. You don't know if, the average life is 4,000 weeks. Some of us only have 2,000. Some of us only have 1,000. And we take it all for granted. And sitting in my bedroom, being sick, you could still kind of hear it in my voice. It kind of just, as a human, it makes me so upset. And I was just talking to my godfather, Danny, and he told me something that was very, very interesting. He said to me, we treat sickness, this physical thing, so seriously. If my mom were to get cancer, I'd be going with her to the chemotherapy. I'd be making sure she took her pills. I would be, fighting right alongside with her. But we don't treat this illness of the soul that we call sin so severely. A lot of us call ourselves Christians. But to be called a Christian, we're called to hate sin. We're called to despise sin. And I feel like we've grown complacent with sin, and we've let this thing be we've hosted it for so long. How much more serious should we take something that could ultimately take your eternity? You'll be tormented for eternity. How much seriously should we take that? A lot of people tell me all the time too. They're like, Harlan, bro, you take this stuff way too seriously. You think way too deeply. You're constantly wrapped up in your own head, thinking about all these high level things. And it's because I'm realizing that these 4,000 weeks is the only chance I get at this. It's the only time this body is the only thing I get. If I was given a paraplegic body, it would have still been the only chance I get. And when I get to talk to people, I talk to Carson, he has type 1 diabetes. I ask him how do you feel about this, this, or this? And he's like, it's the only thing I know. And that's the truth for all of us, is that our bodies are the only thing that we know. And all of us create our own experiences, and we all believe our own set of things, and we all look at the world in our own way. We don't even know that. I don't even know if you're seeing the same purple on these flowers that I see. We all have our own lens. And in a way, we all talk in our own different way. We go home to our own different houses and our own different bubbles. We only have one chance at this life. Let me put this together real quick. One thing I'm trying to do is also, in this amount of time, I'm trying to use my words correctly. Because just like the number of days that I have to live, I only have a certain amount of words to use. And I now have realized that words have so much power. You can make somebody feel something with the word. You can make somebody not feel something with the word. You can threaten somebody. You can love somebody. I feel like words are the thing that ultimately distinguishes us from animals. Yes, they have little languages and stuff, but like this bee flying on this flower ultimately isn't able to communicate like how we are on a deep level. Like I got a camera right here that is able to absolutely like capture something that was invented by a human who was able to invent it from communicating to somebody. But back to what I was saying. I don't know. I'm in this weird place right now. I'm moving away in a few months, and I'm kind of taking in all this like, wow, maybe I'll never see this color again. You know, maybe I'll never be able to experience this cliff or this breeze against my face again. And it's a shame that it has taken me leaving this place for me to be able to appreciate it. It's a shame that something has to leave in order for me to appreciate it. Kanye West has a great quote. People never get the flowers while they can still smell them. And lately, I've just been trying to, how do I put this? Lately, I've been trying to seize the moment and try to give credit where it's due while I still can. I've been trying to capitalize on the day, and some days I'll wake up and I'll send a text to a friend like, hey, bro, I'm really grateful for you. Some may say that's gay. Some may say that's, adjacent to gay, maybe a little weird or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I really, truly do resonate with there's a lack of appreciation in the youth. There's a lack of appreciation in the elderly. There's a lack of appreciation in everybody. Even me saying this right now. Like, really, it's crazy that I get this opportunity to spend these 4,000 weeks doing something. And even though I got to waste that week being sick, I really appreciate that I was able to slow down for a second, honestly. And there's a conundrum where like I can't really criticize something or really love something because it's neither really good or bad. I've been trying to just take it as like, I really do believe that I'm put here for a purpose. And that number is put there, and that idea and this thought process, and maybe you clicking on this video today, is here for a reason. And I guess sometimes I get overwhelmed with like this regret, like maybe I didn't do enough yesterday, or maybe when I was younger, or I wish I started, I constantly say this to myself. I wish I started life earlier. I wish I came to these realizations when I was younger, so that way I could capitalize on them now. There's this question that's, what's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 30 years ago is the first answer, and right now is the second. And I feel like I get caught up in that, caught up in the past, like, oh, like that maybe I did this wrong, maybe I hurt this person. And I'm really trying to change that because I truly do believe that God did not give me another day on this earth for me to think about what happened last night, what happened last week. But he gave me that day to show me that his mercy still works on a broken sinner like me. His mercy works on all of us, I sit there and I judge the Hollywood people who are evil in their own right, or maybe these government officials that I don't really feel like the government's for me anymore. But I don't know. It takes so much energy just to look at myself and really understand, like, how much forgiveness does it actually take for me to be forgiven, How much energy would it take for me to actually fully address all of the things that are going wrong in my life? Think about how exhausted you would be if you spent the whole night thinking about all the stuff that's going wrong. Instead, focus I think you should focus on being the guy that, your dad would be proud of. I would focus on being the guy that your mom would be proud of, or your sister felt safe around, or the guy that you would want to hire, or the guy that you would want to be in the Bible study. Focus on that. Focus on being the person that is loved and accepted. Focus on getting rid of, and if everybody followed that, and if everybody focused on these fundamentals, on helping themselves, they'd ultimately be in a lot better of a place. But instead, they're still focused on adding all these new things to other people. And I had an interesting thought. I would say that I would always consider myself more conservative. I don't identify with any party or anything. And I was thinking about how the left is generally more government and the right is generally less government. Well, what does that less government mean? Well, they still ask for me to, vote on new laws and for new things to happen. And ultimately, I think that government isn't the answer. The answer to the waste that we see with our tax dollars isn't more laws being passed. And I think that the only thing that I'm going to probably vote on is stuff focused on addressing the stuff that's already in place. And we could apply that to our own life. How can I address the laws that I set forth, or these actions or whatever, pacts inside of myself? How can I destroy the wicked ways that I've already put forth? Instead of addressing, the left is like this or the right is like this. What's it like? Let's address what's already happening. After World War II, we were 25 billion in debt, I think. Or was it 25 million? Let me check this real quick. Hey, Perplexity? Just kidding. At the end of World War I, we were 25 billion in debt. And every single day we print $125 billion. And we are several trillions of dollars in debt right now. And we look at this massive amount of waste, and we look at how our government tells us to spend things. And we look at, California, part of the reason why I'm leaving is because they keep on passing laws. They have the majority. I can't do anything about it. There's a waste. And each one of these laws costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, whether they go through or not. And ultimately, they just keep on printing more and more money. They keep on making more and more laws instead of focusing on eradicating the debt that we already have. And ultimately, that is the basis of Christianity. Is I love this country so much, or I love this God so much, that I'm willing to take away as much debt as I possibly can, so that way somebody else doesn't have to pay for it at the end of the day. And I'm trying to not get too preachy nowadays. But Jesus Christ paid for that debt. Jesus Christ paid for that debt with his life. And somebody's going to have to pay the tab at the end of the day, whether it be me or my children. And I think for far too long, us as America and us as parents have been putting the debt onto our next generation. My grandparent at 19 would have been able to buy a house, and I'm stuck here on an empty lot, free loafing, standing in a bunch of flowers for some reason, talking to a camera. I'm like, it's just, where's the care for the next generation? Where's the Native American principle that you leave it better than you found it? We're no longer in tune with our environment. You know how hard it is to find an empty lot like this nowadays on the coast? No joke. I literally was searching for, weeks to find a spot that I could film a spot, in the nature. This whole coast is littered with people, and we don't seem to get it. It's kind of been breaking my heart lately. I kind of want to go back into nature. I kind of want to get away from all this for a little bit. I want to fix myself. And then my mentor, Godfather mentor, he said something interesting. He's trying to have a kid, and we were talking about what parenting looks like. And he said, ultimately, what I tell my kid isn't really going to get through his head. Like, how much of you, by a raise of hands, listen to your parents? Probably not a lot of you raise your hands because this is a video, but also because it didn't work. You probably learned based off of what your parents showed you. And ultimately, the first 1 to 2 years of a kid's life, like conversation and lessons verbally don't even get to them. It's ultimately what you show them. If you show them a happy, loving home, a patient father, and a forgiving mother, then he's going to understand that. But if you show him an angry, hot-headed family, that's in the middle of divorce, that's why we look at all these kids and they're so broken. The last generation keeps on breaking each other. We keep on breaking the next generation, but we keep on running up a credit card on the next generation. Ultimately, I'm paying a secure... Sorry, something in my throat. Ultimately, I'm paying for a social security that I'll never cash in on, never be able to buy a house in this state. And that's just the direction that we're going. Somebody's going to have to pay the bill on this debt that we have. And I only have 4,000 weeks to pay it. Then I'm on to the next life. I'm on to bigger, greener pastures. I don't know. More people need to work on themselves. We look at these people in government, they don't really seem to actually be human. Like, the human struggle is how do I improve myself? But we see these same people getting in these same affairs, sleeping in the same beds that they keep on sleeping in. Like, if you look at the teapot scandal with Warren G. Harding, it was one of the first cases of government corruptance. And this guy, he was able to put together a speech that I quote today called Return to Normalcy. And he basically says that we need to return to normalcy rather than focusing on what's over that sea, what's on the other end of that, Let's go imperialize over there. That's what he says. And this guy's stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from people on oil fields that he bought with taxpayer dollars. And it's just it seems like the whole thing's been rigged from the start, Seems like the whole thing's been rigged from the start. We look at Iraq with the fake weapons of mass destruction, and they sent over a bunch of young souls like me over across the ocean, and they're like, you know what, go kill those people. Go kill them. They did this. And it's it didn't have anything to do with 9/11. The people that they were killing had nothing to do with 9/11. And funny enough, I was on a video game the other day, and there was this veteran who had been over in Iraq and killed people. And he comes back, and now he's a SWAT team leader. And I catch him on the video game, and he's blackout drunk. And he says to me, yeah, dude, I went over there, I served my country, I killed so many people, and now I come back, and I'm just an alcoholic, and I have nothing for me. My wife cheated on me, and honestly, I'm thinking about killing myself. And I think to myself, you went over there for some politician to make money off of your dime. And for you to die for this idea of what a country is. And honestly, at my heart, at my core, I'm a patriot. But I'm not a freelancer for these corrupt politicians. And I'm not a freelancer for this corrupt sin. And I think we should treat it really seriously. Because we only have 4,000 weeks. You and I only have 4,000 weeks. You who's watching this is spending your time, only have 4,000 weeks. 4,000 weeks. You will die. You will 100% die. You will never be able to see this color again. You'll never be able to feel this breeze again. So why not try to be the best possible person that you can be? Why not improve on yourself? We look at all these people that rule our world, and it's hard to support any of these people anymore. You know, we say that we're the good guy, yet we don't actually try to work on ourselves. We just tell other people to change because we're the good guy. We want other people to pay our debt. We want other people to pick up the tab and other people to do the work. When does there come a person that's like, you know what, I'll just do the work. I'm cool with that. That's Jesus. That's Jesus to me. He was able to do the work. I'm constantly taking the path of least resistance. And there's something funny about that body of water behind me. That vast ocean. Just on the other side, there's people that I should hate, according to my government. There's people that I should, go and try to take over their land, take their women, take their oil, take their, resources. And part of me doesn't really want to do that anymore. And I don't really think that young men should be doing that. With their 4,000 weeks that they have for their life, they shouldn't waste 1 week fighting for some corrupt politician. Like, I'm looking at these bees right now, and I just think to myself, like, sometimes it would be better just to have, like, a queen that I serve, That's crazy. That's crazy. But, like, these bees all act with the same goal of bettering the colony. And, if one of them was stealing honey, if one of them was putting forth policies that ultimately made bees hate each other, the colony would fall apart. And I think that's what we're seeing in America. I got to get creative with these things. I run out of analogies. But I don't know, dude. I'm just in a weird spot. I don't know. I've lived here almost my whole entire life. And I'm gonna stop doing that to myself. I keep on saying, like, oh, I'm so confused. I'm so lost, or I keep on giving myself these excuses. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I know exactly, like, I wouldn't have how's this one? I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I have a desire. And God would not let me have the desire if he didn't. Let me put this together a little bit better, just so I could clip farm a little bit better. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I had the knowledge and the desire, and God would not let those two mix together if he didn't know that I had the strength to do it. I have the strength to do it. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. And sometimes, sorry for my language, I'm just a pussy about it. I don't chase after the things that really matter to me. I don't run full force at some, the stuff that I've been enlightened with. That needs to stop. Stop the second guessing myself. I need to chase what's important on the hierarchy of all my wants and, priorities. And actually, one thing that's really cool that I did recently is, and I recommend all young men do this, is that they go and start daily journaling. They start documenting each one of these weeks at least, if not daily. You only have 4,000 journal entries if you do it every week. And then they also put together a hierarchy in the form of a triangle with the things that they care about most. For me, it's God. For me, it's my career / education, and then family, and then podcasting, and then fun things like sports, girls, friends. And basically how that works is that's a compass for me to be able to distinguish what I'm doing right now. Is that good in my overall goals? Because I have goals and those matter. But I need to figure out which decisions I'm making that are good. And what this does, for example, if girls are getting in the way of my spiritual journey, ideally I'd make a decision based off the hierarchy, because my spiritual journey is way higher than the fun things. Now, this doesn't apply to everything. If like a family member said to me like, yo, stop podcasting tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to listen to them. because ultimately podcasting made it on that hierarchy chart. So I truly believe that I can honor all of these things. And so I encourage everybody to do it, not just young men, young women too, if you're watching. This isn't just a young men podcast, but maybe all of us could learn a little bit of something off of this. I don't know. So I need to stop being so lost. I need to stop wasting time. A lot of people say oh, I need more time. Oh, I need more time. You just need to stop using your time so inefficiently. You waste it on all these pointless things. I'm talking to myself. I waste it on things that are so trivial. And if you know that you only have 4,000 weeks in your life, it's kind of hard to look at a week as useless. A week makes up a bigger part of something. A week isn't weak, it's strong. And I say to you, let's start this week not being weak. Tapping into that strength, because God wouldn't have given you those desires if you didn't know that you could go through and achieve them and actually really change the world. No more saying that I'm perplexed. No more saying that I'm confused. No more saying that I don't know what I should do. Okay, I've been enlightened for the past year and a half. I think the time for action is now. My knowledge, oh, my legs are just getting sore, bro. I have a bunch of sticks all in my legs. You know, I really sacrifice a lot doing this for you guys. I'm just kidding. No, I don't sacrifice anything. This makes my whole life have meaning. There's smart people in this world. You're going to run into smart people in your day-to-day life. And you need to realize that you're going to run into smart people that don't have any effect with their knowledge. They know a lot, but they don't do a lot. And my first video, I worked for a year. I worked for a year on this podcast. And my first video, right around that year mark, that did good, it taught me something, because that video that did good was me talking about the basic principle of not judging a book by its cover. And it really resonated with people. And at first I was like, oh, I'm so great. And then I was like, no, I need to give this glory to God. And then I was like, but why is God allowing this to happen? And I think that is because God wants me to say today to you that the reason why that video did really well wasn't because I recited a basic thing. The reason why that video did well wasn't because I had knowledge of you can't judge a book by its cover, but because I applied you can't judge a book by its cover. That's the whole reason why that video was allowed to do well, is because in the 19 years of my life, this is kind of sad, that video was me describing the first time I ever applied that principle to my day-to-day life. I keep on burping. I wonder if I cut those out or not. Do you guys want to see the real me or not? I don't know. First time. You got to apply yourself. You got to apply the knowledge. Applied knowledge is the name of the game. There was a lot of people in the comment sections of that video that were saying at 19 he finally discovered empathy. And that kind of shows that you think that just having knowledge about something changes something. It doesn't. That's part of the reason why most churchgoers don't actually live lives of virtue. They live lives of fraud. Most people live lives of quiet destitute, wishing that they could actually live out a life differently. And that's why a lot of people fall into this trick of just kind of worshiping the pastors, because the pastors actually live it most of the time. Some of them do adulterous things and weird stuff, but I came up with this saying after this video that there's a lot of know-it-alls, but not a lot of do-it-alls. Do you do it all? Do you use your knowledge to the absolute maximum of the capacity that it could be used? If so, why is God giving you that knowledge? Why do you deserve that knowledge? You should give that to somebody else. Because I know a lot of really dumb people that try their best. And I think that God would look at somebody with very little knowledge but a lot of effort and smile on him a lot better than the person who knows so much and just sits in his room and does nothing. You know better, but do you do better? Do you act on it? Applied knowledge is the name of the game, man. You know, I could sit around and know it all. Know it all. There's this one Twilight Zone episode of this guy who wishes to be completely alone and just read for the rest of his life. And a nuke goes off and he's inside of a bank and he locks himself inside of the bank with a bunch of books. And he just reads and reads and reads. And then eventually his glasses break. And he couldn't obtain any more knowledge. He couldn't do the thing that he loved. And it goes to show that like this smart person, well, the first thing that I was teaching us is that you need other people, but also like the hidden message is that smart people aren't always the best people. I always fight to be in these rooms full of really smart people, but ultimately smart people aren't even always the richest or the most active in the church community or whatever. They just kind of sit back and they're really snobby about it. And I really like smart people, but I like smart people who have applied knowledge. How much are you doing with it? And I know I'm not perfect with it and stuff, but are you applying your knowledge in your day-to-day life? I don't know. What's the point in God showing you all these signs and, you know, really just throwing in a lot of effort on you and working on you if you're not even willing to put in the work or do anything about it? It'd be like knowing, like, nobody ever gets buff by knowing all of the workouts, but by doing all the workouts. And they do all the workouts a lot. Very frequently. And it's kind of funny. Everybody knows that you wouldn't get physically fit just working out on Sunday. But we don't apply that same mentality for church. We don't apply that same mentality to our brothers and to ourselves. I just show up on Sunday. I look good on Sunday. Actually, let me clip farm this a little bit more. Let me restate that. Take this as a moment to let it sink in. Everybody knows that you would never get ripped based off of working. Let me just redo that one. Do I look good? Stepped in the puddle again. Everybody knows that you would never achieve the body that you desired if you only worked out on Sunday. Yet we don't apply that same logic to church. We treat this holy day, Sunday, like this day where I invite God in for a day. Welcome in, God, come into my house. And, you know, you clean up your house, you sweep the floors, you do all the dishes, you put all the bad stuff away. And God walks into the house and he's like, why are you inviting me into my own house? I own this house. You're welcome in. That's how we should be looking at Sunday. So God, let me into your house. You know, you own my body, but let me use it for the sole purpose that you made it for. And let me be a joint heir with Jesus Christ, as you talk about in Romans 8, and as you talk about in Ephesians. Let me be a joint heir with you. Thank you, God, for letting me in. Thank you, God, for allowing me to have this knowledge. I'm now going to apply it. See, the guy owns the house, and you sit there and you're like, yo, wipe off your feet at the front door. You know, don't track mud in here. I don't want you to remain after Sunday. And a lot of us look perfect on Sunday, bro. We show up with our button up. You know, we look like a cute little church boy or whatever. And it's not working. You're not fooling anybody. Show up when nobody else is there. Show up when it isn't fun. Show up when you don't have your makeup on. Show up when you're ugly. Show up when you're broken and you're sick and you're beaten down. That's when you should show up. What's the point in showing up at the gym when you're, ripped? What's the point in showing up at the hospital when you're totally fine. When was the last time? I have a question for you. When was the last time you went into a hospital and you waited in that waiting room? You know, with the way that hospitals are now today, you sit in that waiting room and the guy next to you has a broken arm, and the other guy, half of his face is ripped off. When was the last time you went to the hospital and saw everybody there okay? And yet you go to church and you see everybody there looking perfect, looking totally fine. Why should you be there? We should be vulnerable, and we should be talking with each other and be like, spiritually my face is falling off right now. Spiritually, I have leprosy. Spiritually, I have chicken pox. Spiritually, I've been throwing up since 3 a.m. That's the type of church I want to be at, where I'm like, I'm struggling. I'm definitely struggling. I'm super weak. Let's get strong. Let's work through it. But instead, I found myself, most churches I go to, it's like, God, wipe your feet off at the front door. Don't track any mud in. I don't want you around for too long. It's his house. He owns you. He created you. Every single hair on your head, he knows. That's the thing that you're not getting. Your DNA is actually an alphabet inside of you. It's a language that perfectly describes you. And we say that isn't evidence of intelligence. Are you serious? Take a look at this. I just found a bottle in the ground. It's a Corona bottle, Corona Extra. It has an alphabet on it. And we look at that alphabet and we say that, somebody was trying to convey something. There's a language there. But we look at our same body. We have a series of X and Y chromosomes. We have a series of genes that directly convey information. And we say, absolutely not. That isn't made by it. That doesn't have any intelligence behind it. It isn't built for anybody to read. The main thing science looks at when it's trying to see if you have cancer, they read into the alphabet and the language that perfectly describes it. What is the point in that, in evolution? What's the point in being able to read humans in evolution? It is clearly a sign of intelligence from above. In every single case, go to the pyramids in Egypt and you look along the walls and you see these hieroglyphs. They look like cool little things. They look like cool little logos. I don't know. They're cool. How many times did I just say cool? They look cool. I'd be sick. How's it going? Just filming a podcast. Huh? Filming a podcast. Oh, that's cool. Filming a podcast? Yeah, I don't mean to. You guys are totally cool to walk. Don't feel weird. Appreciate you. We look at all language and see it as a sign of intelligence that's conveying a message. But we look at the most extraordinary. We look at the most, what's the word? We look at the most intricate language that we've ever observed in all of history. One of the greatest discoveries of all time. And we say, absolutely not. That's just evolution. There's no point. Evolution says that only necessary things survive. And that's only been necessary for the past, few years. And all things have it. But back to 4,000 weeks. We only have 4,000 weeks on this earth, if we're lucky. That's like roughly 78 years. We only have 4,000 weeks in our lifetime to be able to make a change and to be able to fulfill our purpose. Stop spending it regretting. Stop spending it thinking about, all this stuff. Stop spending it accruing pointless knowledge. Meaningful knowledge is important. And focus on applied knowledge and using this vessel, this paintbrush that God has given you called your body to be able to paint the beautiful painting that he wants you to. 4,000 weeks, people. 4,000 opportunities, 4,000 ways to change. Let that sink in, that you only have 4,000 weeks to live and actually do something with it. I'm tired of wasting all these weeks, and I'm tired of being a stain on God's reputation. I'm tired of all this stuff. And I'm tired of sitting there saying that I'm confused, like I need more knowledge. The answer isn't more knowledge, it's lack of resolve, and it's lack of use of the knowledge that he's given me. He's constantly giving me signs, and he's constantly giving you signs. Let me pray us out. Father, Lord, thank you so much for today. Let us be like one of these bees, and let the church of God be like the beehive, and let us constantly be thinking about how to move forward and do better stuff to enact your will, to carry out in such a way that we're able to love each other. We're able to go through and act in peace and gentleness and kindness and long-suffering. Really just make us do more. Do more. Do more, Harlan. Do more to the person watching this. Do more. 4,000 weeks, people. Amen. Thank you so much. Please subscribe.